Welcome back to geometry. So our last step is we get to spend $1,000,000 now. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to calculate the floor space of every room in our house. That includes all of the entryways, the doorways. So you want to try to make sure that you're doing these calculations and nothing is going to be just a square or a rectangle. You're going to have little parts that you have to put together. So quite a few of my kids did put these on spreadsheets. You can do it by hand either way. I don't care. You're just going to figure out the total floor space and multiply that by 100 to get our construction costs. So on this one, and I'll zoom in on the video, I do want to show you that I would have different things like the main part of the master bedroom was 16.5 by 19, but then I had to subtract, there was 5 feet here, add a little section here, add another section here. So don't be afraid to just have the rectangle. You can have the rectangle and different things that you're adding to that or subtracting from that. And sometimes that thing that I'm adding or subtracting might be, this one is 3 by 3.5, but then I counted up some squares in another spot. So there's things that you're going to do like that. The countertops I'll get to showing you. Some things will be a nice rectangle, other things will not be. So my walk-in closet is 14 by 6.5, but then I had a little square taken out of that, so I subtracted 3.5 times 3.5. So you just work your way through your building and show those different things, and you want to label your different stuff. Another way, so we have all of the different things. We have a greenhouse on this one, and some of the greenhouse I actually had a triangle, so that's why we have that 1/2. Most of the other places I don't think had those things. Okay, this is an example of on a spreadsheet, and they just have the separate dimensions. You can type in and just label everything the way that I did as well. Okay, both ways work. Here's another example where they have the dimensions of the different rooms and square footage, and then they calculated the price. So the second thing that we do is the floor calculations, and all of the floors have to have some kind of covering except for underneath the cabinets. But the underneath the cabinet part was included in your original calculation, so you're going to end up figuring those ones out and subtracting them just in the kitchens and the bathrooms. So we're just going to have hardwood flooring at $15 a square foot. Linoleum is the cheapest with 5, stone tile 20, regular tile 15, and carpet $10 a square foot. Now guys, these are incredibly variable. These are the calculations we're going to use. I've seen hardwood flooring that was $50 a square foot. It was gorgeous, but we're just going to figure out, label which ones they are, and then you can actually add that as one row to your other calculations, or you can have a separate page in your spreadsheets. The example that I have is going to have separate ones. So here's an example of the flooring, and in the kitchen it's going to be a smaller section that they did. They decided it was tile, so then you multiply this by your tile, $15 per square foot. Carpet times 10, all of those different things. Yeah, they had a mistake in the carpet one. This is just an example from a student. So some things didn't have because they were more unusual shapes, they didn't write it in here, but they ended up figuring it out over here. So let's take a look at the countertops. So this is a bathroom here, and this particular sink right here is a pedestal sink. Well, there's no countertop around a pedestal sink, and you do tile all the way underneath it. So this one, the flooring is going to be that space. But then over here, we have a sink. So you see the square sink here. And this countertop is 1.5 feet deep. We can see a 1/2 foot here, 1 foot here. And it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feet long. So we have 5 times 1.5 for countertop. That's one calculation. And the other calculation we need is, see that we're going from wall to wall, so 5 feet of edging. So on this bathroom, these are the two things that I'm going to use for figuring out the counters. In this bathroom, notice that the sinks are a double sink and they are wider. They are actually 2 feet. So this is going to be 2 feet by, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is also 5. So we have 10 feet of countertop. And then in this one, do you notice how there's not a wall right here? So when I do the linear edging, I have to edge 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's going to be 7 foot of edge. Okay, the bathrooms usually are not too bad. Now notice that they do have the tub in here and it looks like it's in an enclosure. There's all kinds of calculations for tiling there. We're not going to do those. I just want the sinks and those countertops. So let's take a look at a full kitchen. In the kitchen, we notice that all of these counters are 2 feet deep. They have the upper cabinets here. We have our range. Not labeled, but this looks like this is the refrigerator, the sinks. Okay, so those are the kinds of things that we have here. I'm not sure what this is. It might be, oh, what do they call those things? Appliance garage. But typically the countertop goes into those as well. So what I see is I'm going to have counters here, and my island has to be a countertop as well. And then this looks like it's the pantry. So I'm going to count this as the fridge. I'm not positive, but that's what we'll do. So the typical calculations, let's take a look at the island first. The island, now if I started here, I would do a full is to the middle, so 1, 2, 3.5. Or if I start here, 1, 2, 3.5. And in the other direction, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now there's different parts of this. So I'm going to go ahead and say I need the island. And the island is going to be 3.5 by 6. So I'm going to go ahead and get that calculation, and that's going to be 21. That's square feet. Now I also need the edge of the island, so since I'm on the island, I'm going to do that too. And the edge, you can go ahead and count around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and a half, 10 and a half, 11 and a half, 12 and a half, 13 and a half, 14 and a half, 15 and a half, 16, 17, 18, 19. So I can go ahead and actually count around it and do 19. Now the other thing that I could do is, I know it's a rectangle, so 2 times 6 is 12, and 2 times 3.5 is 7, and 12 plus 7 is also 19. So I need these two numbers for the island. The island's going to have your largest edge. Then I need to do the countertops. Well, the countertops go around a couple corners. So go ahead and decide that, well, I need to split these, and I'm going to split this guy here, and so I'm just going to go here and here. So I'm going to split into those parts, and in order to identify those parts, I'm going to say, okay, this is the sink part, this is the range part, and this guy right here, I don't know, I could call it peninsula or extra. So feel free to split it into parts and go ahead and label those little things there. It's going to be probably a different color than the pencil that you had. I just do that so that I can figure out the different parts. And in the sink part, well, the sink part starts here, and it is 2 feet deep, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and it does go into here, 13, 14. So the sink part is going to be 14 by 2. Now let's think about the edge. The edge doesn't go into here because this is the refrigerator, and you don't tend to have a finished edge next to the refrigerator. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This looks like a farm sink. That's 3. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I'm going to have edge is 9. And the reason that we change that is it looks like it's a farm sink. If it were not a farm sink, if it were just in here, I would count the edge. Then for the range section, I need to do the same thing. It is 2 foot deep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now there's a possibility that this looks like it's also stuck in here. So I actually have a spot here and a spot here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So over here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half and 5 and a half. So that's going to be 11 by 2. There's several different ways that I could split it up. They are all perfectly okay. So that's 22 square feet. And then my edging, well, I don't have edge here because there's countertop or here. So I have 1, 2, 3 and a half and 3 and a half here. So that's going to be 7 edge. And for my little extra spot, notice I happen to be starting here at half. So I can count 1 as into the middle of the next square, 2, it's still 2 feet wide, by 4, so this is going to be 2 by 4, so it's 8 square feet. And the edge, now in this case, where do you see a wall here? This is important because it looks like I have a wall here. So since this is going to be a wall, I would count an edge as 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half. If that is not a wall, I would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to do with 4 and a half of the edge. Notice how we broke it into parts. Now, if I want to do a total for the kitchen, so I can do different types of materials or I can do the whole thing together. In this case, I'm going to do the total. And for the total, I'm going to add these guys up. I have 21, 28, 22, and 8. So I have a 79 square foot. That's Q. So for the edge, I'm again going to add everything up. So I have 19 plus 9 plus 7 plus 4.5. And I have an edge of 39.5. Once you have those two numbers, then you decide which counter am I doing. And the countertops, linoleum is the cheapest. It's $5 a square foot, $1 per linear foot. Tile, stone, butcher block doesn't have a separate edge part to it. Now there's solid surface, and usually I bring these in so you guys get a chance to kind of see what different things can be. The solid surface, we're going to go with $50 a square foot and $5 a linear edge, and the granite we will do is $110 a linear edge. So once you have those calculations, if I decide that this is going to be granite, then for granite my calculations are $79 times 100 plus the edging, and the edge is 39.5 times 10. So my kitchen would be $8,295. Honestly, that's a pretty big kitchen. I'm probably giving you low numbers on some of the costs. That's just a calculation for your kitchen countertops. So you are going to figure out your kitchen. They separate out off the kitchen edge and the islands. That's fine. This one had a total of 3,508. I don't know where they got the 8. And your very last calculation, you are going to add up all of your building costs, your countertops, your flooring. Once you get that amount, the rest of it is going to go towards acreage at $2,000 per acre. And your final cost is to be between $995,000 and $1 million. And then you're done. And I am perfectly okay with having hand calculations or having it on a computer. Both ways work. So have a good day.